You know when on Google you're trying to find some of the top places to visit in Toronto, and naturally the CN Tower will come up, or Royal Ontario Museum, and of course those places are super cool, but what never comes up is Little Canada. And I feel like it's definitely worth the visit, because so much effort went into building this world of miniatures, and today I wanted to take you on a quick tour with me.
Alright, so Little Canada is actually located right in the heart of Toronto, on Dundas Square. You just need to find the Tenor building and go through these doors. Then, just take this escalator down and you will find yourself in this welcome center. There you will see this map, which is going to show you worlds that are both still coming soon and actually open. And the first one you will see is Little Niagara. There will be this tiny replica of Maid of the Mist. And you know what? It actually looks almost exactly just like in real life. But the coolest part was actually this Table Rock Center, because I was standing just right over there a couple of weeks ago when I made my other YouTube video where I tried to compare a train versus bus to get from Toronto to Niagara Falls. So feel free to scan a QR code if you want to watch it. Anyways, I decided to take a step back and show you how massive this whole exhibit is, and actually roughly every 9 to 10 minutes, lights will dim in Little Canada and it will become night. So it definitely adds this other layer of immersion to the whole experience. And look, they even made my tiny little GO train that I took a couple of weeks ago to Niagara Falls. Anyways, I could have spent hours here, and unfortunately that day I just didn't have all the time in the world, so I had to move.
Now that I'm done with Little Niagara, I am moving to the next destination, which I think is Little Toronto. And while you're moving between the, I think you can call them maybe stations, I don't know, there's a bunch of interesting facts scattered all over the place. For example, I didn't know that Canada produces 82% supply of maple syrup in the entire world, so that's interesting to know.
And if you thought that Niagara Falls was crazy, wait until you step into Little Toronto, because this is the moment where your breath just gets taken away. Honestly, when I stepped into it for the first time, I didn't even know where to start looking, because, for example, take a look at this TTC subway train. There is a tiny little cutout where you can actually see how it goes behind the scenes. How cool is that? Also, Rogers Centre. Its roof actually opens and closes, just like it does in real life.
And this is the Scotiabank Arena. If I put my camera somewhere here, it reminds me of our view from actually my wife's and mine apartment. Take a look.
Alright, I might have exaggerated a little bit, but look, this is a side-by-side view, and I think the only thing that's missing in the miniature version is its roof. But let's keep on going. So, you will see this absolutely gigantic replica of Toronto's Union Station, and then when you turn your head around, there's Nathan Phillips Square with our very, very famous Toronto sign. There's also a replica of the Art Gallery of Ontario, and then the whole kind of downtown core is built here, and I like how Little Canada actually highlights where Little Canada is actually located. Now look, there's also the Up Express train. I also reviewed it on my channel, and feel free to scan a QR code if you want to watch it, but I'm going to stop shamelessly plugging my videos in here. So when you're done with Little Toronto, you move onto Little Golden Horseshoe. So this is the area where the city of Hamilton is actually built, and there's a bunch of different industrial areas that are actually associated with this. You will also see this Highway of Heroes, and honestly, there's a ton of different action happening there. There's trucks, cars, buses moving all over the place.
One thing I notice here is that maybe because of all of this exploring, you get hungry pretty quickly. So there's Little Bites, kind of a cafe in here with some pizza slices, some coffee, some cookies. So just quite literally Little Bites if you get just a little bit hungry.
I didn't have time for a snack. I had to keep on going. And this is Little Ottawa with a signature Parliament Hill And it seems like Canadians are celebrating Canada Day there.
And behind me is Chateau Laurier. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, but you can spend hours just exploring what people in all of these tiny rooms do. And this is one of the highlights of Little Canada, is that you can definitely spend just literally hours, and probably you will not be able to see every single detail that went into building this ginormous project.
I cannot even begin to imagine how difficult it was to build this tulip park, but something else actually caught my attention.
And while I was going between Little Ottawa and Little Quebec, I found this Littlization Station. A pretty neat concept where you step inside of this pod and then a ton of cameras take a picture of you at the same time, and then they make a 3D figure out of you. And then you have two options. You can either just ask them to ship it to your home, or you can also ask them to put your figure somewhere in Little Canada exhibit. So this is what I'm going to do. It only sucks that it takes 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm going to go take my picture and then ask them to put my figure probably somewhere in Niagara Falls.
So the only thing that I had to do here really was just sign up and get inside of the pod.
You're going to be looking at this red dot.
Okay.
Do you want to do a pose at all? Sure. Ready, big smiles in. 3, 2, 1, cheers. And I'll just make sure you like it too.
Amazing.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
On out.
So there's my picture, and actually I don't have to do anything here. It'll take about 3 to 4 weeks for them to make my figure, and then I think they're just gonna send me a picture of like where my miniature is going to be placed, and I actually can choose it. So yeah, I think then I'll update the video and we'll see how it's gonna look like.
Anyways, let's keep on going, and the next stop is Petit, Quebec.
And now that I'm in Quebec, it's definitely gotten a bit more hilly and a little bit colder. But what I like about Little Canada is that they don't just think about their miniatures, they also think about lighting a lot and also sounds. Sometimes, you know, there's like construction happening in the background, or helicopters are flying, birds are chirping, or like wolves howling. Adds a little bit to this immersion experience.
And while I was enjoying this immersion experience, something completely different caught my eye. This miniature mission control. And when I was there, it looks like there was an accident.
Operator 2 Golden Horseshoe, looks like there's a major car pileup in the front yard of the lake. Thank you. Oh, there he is.
Oh,
So basically what happens is these are self-charging cars, and they go in for about 45 seconds, then they turn, and then they go on their merry little way.
Tara was amazing, because when I asked my question about, well, how do these cars and buses actually work, she had a trick up her sleeve.
And this is what they look like underneath. So they have steering wheels, and when I flick it on, there's a magnet that sticks out like that, and they follow the wire that runs underneath all of our roads, like that. So when they turn left, they signal left, when they turn right, they signal right, and they stop at stop signs. But as you can see, they don't have a signal for when just something is in front of it. They'll just keep going and going and going and angrily roaring at each other.
Tara also showed me what kind of materials they use for their exhibits, but I had to move to my next world, which was Little East Coast. And what does it mean? It means water, it means fish, and actually I lied before in my video. I was actually already in Little Canada before, back in 2022 I believe, and this whole section was completely closed off, which brings me to another point.
some places in Little Canada are still being built. So now it's September of 2024. And if you were to come here, I think end of 2024, beginning of 2025, then some sections will still be closed. For example, Montreal is still being built, but I think they should open it up probably sometime next year. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to see some closed off sections, they're still in progress.
By now I was done enjoying the East Coast, and I had to go up the escalator.
And when you're done with the East Coast, you go up and you go through this hallway. And all of this hallway is dedicated to people who built Little Canada. So it was started by a person named Jean-Louis, who in 2011 had an idea of starting some sort of a, I guess, company or a business that will build a ton of these, like little worlds. and replicate Canada in this miniature version. And this wall is actually dedicated to all of those people. I think these are just their kind of tiny miniatures. So yeah, very, very sweet.
And my next and final stop was Little West Coast. At first, it looked normal, but then I saw glue, tape, rulers, and it looks like they're still building this section, but it was definitely cool to see behind the scenes.
And the West Coast actually completes the entire Little Canada experience. There's an exit, so if you wanted to leave, you can, or there's also a gift shop, so if you wanted to get some souvenirs, you can do that as well. But I wanted to conclude today's video by saying, just visit this place. Honestly, the sheer level of detail that went into building these cars, trains, people, buildings, it's really incredible, and 2 hours is not enough just to appreciate this level of detail. Definitely visit this place. I spent $40, tax included, for my ticket. I think for kids it's a little bit cheaper, and they will have a blast. Again, if you have kids, take them here. I think they would love it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was informational and helpful, and let me know in the comments if you are going to visit this place, and if you actually visited, let me know how it went. Anyways, I hope you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.